All right, diving in today, and we're looking at something that should be pretty basic in any workspace, especially when you've got machinery involved.
Making sure it's safe to use, yeah.
Exactly. Safety first, as they say. And for this deep dive, we've got some info from a company called PowerSafe Automation.
I've seen their website.
Yeah.
Looks like they specialize in these things called machine guarding assessments.
Right.
Yeah.
And our goal is, well, to break down what that even means.
And why it matters.
Especially for folks out there who maybe aren't, engineers or safety experts. We want to cut through the jargon and make it clear how vital this stuff is.
It really is about being proactive, thinking ahead about the dangers, especially where you've got people working with powerful machines.
And what stood out to me about PowerSafe's approach was this emphasis on collaboration. They're not just like sending an inspector to tick boxes.
No, not at all. They get everyone involved, the operators who use machines every day, the safety managers, plant engineers, maintenance techs.
So why is that so crucial, getting all those different perspectives?
Well, think about it. The operator knows the quirks of the machine, the little things that maybe aren't in the manual.
Right, the day-to-day realities.
Exactly. The engineer knows the design inside and out, and then the safety manager, they're up to speed on all the regulations and best practices.
So bringing them all together.
It's like getting a 360-degree view.
And then PowerSafe can figure out where the risks are and how to fix them in a way that actually works for everyone.
And keeps things running smoothly. They're also big on sticking to established standards like, ANSI and OSHA guidelines.
So let's say, a company decides to get one of these machine guarding assessments. Walk us through what that looks like in practice.
Sure. First off, they'll send a team out for an on-site visit. They'll do a complete review of, the existing safety measures.
But it's not just about, looking around.
No, that's just the start. It's all about those conversations we talked about.
Yeah.
Really getting a sense of the company's safety goals.
Understanding how they operate.
Exactly. How the work flows, how the machines are set up, how they're used, how they're adjusted.
So they can pinpoint exactly where improvements need to be made.
You got it.
And then what? Is it just a report? Here's what you got to fix.
No, it's way more visual than that. The engineers at PowerSafe, they actually take those findings and develop 3D CAD models.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they can create visual representations of what the proposed improvements would look like.
Makes it way easier to understand.
Absolutely. Then they put together a whole proposal.
Okay, what's in that?
It lays out everything. The materials, the installation, how they'll integrate the new safety features, even a quote for everything.
Very thorough.
And then they have a follow-up meeting to go over the designs, to talk about the timeline for implementation. It's really transparent.
Now, I saw on their website, they also offer some additional services. What are some of the highlights there?
Two things I think are super useful. One is that they can actually evaluate machines before you buy them.
Oh, interesting.
So, you avoid those nasty surprises down the line where you're like, oh, now we need to spend a fortune on safety upgrades.
Makes sense.
And then for newly purchased machines, they offer rapid safety upgrades, getting everything up to par quickly so you can start production.
Being proactive instead of reactive?
Exactly.
I also noticed they mentioned machine risk assessment options, and this is through certified partnerships, right?
That's right.
So how does that differ from what we've been talking about, their standard service?
Well, sometimes you need a deeper dive, like a full risk assessment or something called a safety integrity level assessment.
More specialized.
Right. And that's where PowerSafe teams up with experts who, have that very specific expertise.
Okay, so kind of next level stuff.
Yeah.
Now, one thing they highlighted on their site was functional safety. What's the key takeaway there?
It's all about making sure those safety control systems on your machines, they're actually working reliably.
Making sure they actually do what they're supposed to do.
Exactly. And they go through, schematics, technical data, all of that, and assess it against safety standards like OSHA.
So they're looking for any weaknesses.
Right. And if they find anything that's out of spec, they'll recommend upgrades, making sure things like motor controls are meeting those necessary safety ratings.
They also mentioned something called stop time distance and something about 60 inches per second. What's that all about?
Think of it this way. If a machine is running and there's a hazard, you need to make sure that thing stops before someone can reach into the danger zone, right?
Of course.
And that 60 inches per second, that's kind of like a rule of thumb for how fast a person might react. So PowerSafe, they'll actually test the machine, see how long it takes to stop.
Okay.
And then they figure out, okay, where do we need to place things like light curtains or other safety devices?
To account for that human element.
Exactly. It's that difference between how fast a person reacts and how fast a machine can stop.
really highlights how crucial it is to understand the machinery's capabilities. And what about when companies are looking at acquiring new machines? What should they keep in mind?
You hit the nail on the head. Don't just focus on the features and the price tag. You got to factor in safety right from the start.
Absolutely.
PowerSafe, they actually offer assessments for newly acquired machines.
Yeah, we'll come in and take a look.
They can do it virtually or on-site. It's all about spotting those potential safety issues early on.
So they're really covering all the bases.
Yeah. And they even look at ergonomic safety, too.
What does that entail?
It's about how the workspaces are set up,
Right.
preventing things like repetitive strain injuries,
Yeah.
making sure people can work comfortably and efficiently.
Trying to keep everyone in that green zone, so to speak.
Precisely.
So to sum it all up, it seems like a machine guarding assessment from PowerSafe Automation. It's not just a one-and-done inspection. It's this whole collaborative process focused on really understanding the workplace, identifying the hazards, and coming up with solutions that work for everyone.
And ultimately, it's about creating a safer, more productive environment.
Exactly.
It's all about that proactive risk management, getting everyone on board with safety.
And for all of you listening, think about your own operations. What are some of those potential safety blind spots that you might be overlooking? And what could be the long-term impact? Not just for your team's well-being, but for your company's bottom line. If you take a proactive approach to machine safety, what could that mean for your business? Really something to consider. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.